Um, Good evening, everyone. Peter Racy here, Foundation Expo 88 YouTube channel, and we're here in another series talking about the silo in the city that was relocated out of Biloela. And Andrew, I've got some good news because this morning I collected another little bit of collecting of souvenirs, 4 pins
Very good.
from Peter Talbot, who lives out at Rochdale South. And it's just great to see people come on board. And I'm fairly certain that Jason has also had a few items given to him up in Kingaroy. So it's, momentum. I love it. I absolutely love it. So what we're talking about tonight is paddock to plate, a concept that in 1987 probably wasn't even conceptualized until the silo in the city delivered that concept. So let's delve into that. First of all, talking about why that was important. I mean, what would you want to analyse and look into paddock to plate?
Well, it came when we were came about in our area when we were students. I went through university and played football with a guy called Ian McFarlane, who became a minister in the Howard government. And when he was a young fellow, he would repeatedly say to me, "My job is to get our products to the boundary gate, and the marketing authority takes it from there. Do with the products what they will." And we used to have very intense discussion about how the grower should oversee what happens in the restaurant. The grower should have some way of saying, well, this is the product of Kingaroy, or the product of Dirranbandi, or the product of West Longreach, and we are scientific in the way in which we put together our crops and our produce and our flowers and our technology, and we want to see when someone sits down to eat a Drought Master steak, they understand that it is a Drought Master steak. It's not just fillet, or it's not just another cut which could be from any beast. And so paddock to plate it's a way of gaining quality control and a brand for a district or a breed or a particular quality product from the bush.
Essential selling point, I think Stefan would call
it. Yes, but also in regard to bush tucker, we have a very let's say high-end market for bush tucker, which has grown in the continent for tens of thousands of years, millions of years. And in order to get that from paddock to plate is a torturous process. So when it came down to kids understanding where milk comes from, understanding where food comes from, this whole thing about supermarket buying and the dominance of the urban way of life without any connection to the bush, without any connection to nature, we cut through and did our focus groups and said, well, the key to it is an understanding of paddock to plate, the food and fibre transformation. And so the whole pavilion, Silo in the City, was looking at the ways in which that story could be told. And we had tremendous work to do. Like we had people reacting against how tough it was to get product out of the bush and onto the plate. And we decided that we would have a fair dinkum, true blue process of how you keep your beasts alive, how you keep your sheep and cattle alive, how you have to get water to them. If you have to carp water, you carp water. if you come along one day and there's too much rain, you're pulling sheep out of bogs. You are looking at the way in which land is best managed through hoofed animals. And what we found absolutely amazing was that one of the big organisations who backed us basically said they're going to pull out of the pavilion if we tell the story as the way we wanted to tell it. And they said that it would be confronting to the urban dweller. It would be confronting to the international traveller, that they don't really want to see the bones of the carcasses as a result of the production process. And I'm not sure how you feel about this, Peter, but we understand that if you want to sell a blockbuster movie, if you want to sell a good book, you have to sex it up. And our key motivation was to tell the story.
There was just a slight hiccup there and we lost our connection. Andrew's back again. We were talking about the authentic experience of the paddock to plate, and you were saying that there was a little bit of disquiet with some of the participants about getting down to the nitty-gritty and the bones of the marketing, but in the end you felt that you got the message right and that it was really well received. And there's a promotional video. I noticed that Jason has now recorded the first one. I'm assuming,
Yeah.
knowing Jason, he's got a plate in front of him with his vegetarian noodles or whatever, and is furiously recording a second one and editing it, and God only knows what.
Yeah.
So we've got a bit more meat on the table.
Well, absolutely. I looked at that video again this afternoon, and it's fabulous in terms of the amount of passion that's they're trying to get the job done of marketing the pavilion. It's a really good document.
Yeah, no, it would have brought back a lot of memories, I suspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our person walk in on the interview. Come over here, Isabel. Come in, come on.
I hate you.
She hates me.
Yeah.
This is my daughter, Isabel.
Isabel,
Hi.
how are you?
Good.
She was sitting there intently listening to you, which is
Right,
the reason
okay.
why I thought an audience is always appreciative.
Yes. So I'll leave it in your court to
Yep, great stuff.
to look at the next phase, and I'm really enjoying the interview process.
Yep, thanks. Great stuff. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Enjoy your wine.
Yeah, thanks.